everybody, Jessica here. I use she, her pronouns. And this class today is going to be a super beginner friendly basic yoga class. We're going to go through the basic foundational poses for pretty much any yoga class, but specifically Hatha yoga and Vinyasa. So if you are new to yoga, if you are intimidated by yoga, or if you just want to get down to a really basic foundational practice, this is the class for you. So if you have a couple blocks, bring them. If you don't, no big deal. Just grab a mat or a towel, something to practice on, and I'll see you in just a moment. Hello, welcome everybody. So today we're going to get started seated. So finding a comfortable seat, either cross-legged or you can extend the legs nice and long and wide if that feels good. I am seated on top of a blanket. So I have maybe an inch or two right up underneath my sits bones, and maybe you do the same if that makes it a little more comfortable for you to sit here today. And as always, we're just going to take a few moments before we start moving to center ourselves, to ground ourselves, and to create some space to move with joy in our body today. So let's either soften the gaze or close the eyes. Allow the arms to rest on your body wherever they'd like. Finding a nice long spine here. Maybe roll the shoulders back a little bit and tuck the chin. And notice how your breath is moving through you, how that life force is moving through your body today. And if you have any heavy thoughts on your mind right now, or busy thoughts that are pulling you away from being present in this moment, maybe you visualize locking them up in a box and just setting them outside of the room that you're in right now. And know to yourself that you can always pick them up after we're done with this practice if you'd like. Or not. Allowing the body to expand on the inhale and gracefully settle down, ground down deeper into the ground, releasing the shoulders, softening the neck. And keep going like this until you establish a nice cycle or rhythm with this breath. And understand that through our practice today and every day, anytime we're practicing any type of yoga, the breath is always the backbone, the most important aspect of the practice. So should the breath get away from you, know that you can always come back to a seat or lay down in Shavasana and come back into the breath. We're here to take what we need from the practice and leave all the rest behind. So that includes postures as well. This is your practice. I'm just a guide. Next few breaths here, take a moment to notice the brief pause between inhale and exhale. Very nice. One more like that, just pausing briefly after the inhale and after the exhale. And last breath here. Sigh it out. Wonderful. From here, we're going to move into a tabletop position. So we're going to find a position on our hands and knees. And we want to stack the hips right over the knees and the shoulders right over the wrists. So if you find that you have tenderness in the knees or you're on a hard surface, I would encourage you to bring a blanket right up underneath the knees, which I'm going to do here since we're outside on my patio. So always looking for ways to support yourself and to find ease, even in things that are difficult. So from this tabletop position, we definitely want to make sure that we have space in the middle of the body. So if you feel really crunched up, you might notice that Your wrists aren't underneath the elbows, or hips aren't over the knees. So find that space and find that length in the spine and through the middle of the body. Knees are maybe 1 or 2 fist width distances apart here, and we're resting on the tops of the feet. So feet are relaxed here. We're going to come into cat-cow pose. So on the inhale, we're going to drop the belly down and kind of tilt the pelvis or the tailbone up. Gaze comes up, shoulders come between, or chest comes between the shoulders rather. Gaze comes up, really stretching through the middle of the body, maybe even in the pelvic area. And then exhale, press the ground away, raise your shoulders or arch your back here, lifting your shoulders up towards the sky, chin to chest. Drop the head down, tilting the tailbone in the opposite direction. So in this time. Inhale, cow pose, drop the belly down. Think of sliding the pelvis away from the heart center. And then exhale, round through the spine, press up. Think of bringing the pelvis to hug the heart center. Looking for movement through the entire spine here. We're definitely warming up the upper body a little bit. And anytime we're situated on our hands like this, we want to make sure that we're really pressing into the full palm and the fingers as well. That should take a little bit of tension out of the wrists. What happens a lot of the time, and keep on moving here, we're doing really good. What happens a lot of the time is when you're not actively pressing through the entire hand, including the fingers, and just when you're not used to the sensation, we tend to dump a lot of our weight in the wrist, so kind of just like this. But if we're actively pressing away, we can help alleviate some of that tension. So pay attention to how you're pressing into the ground. Make sure your fingertips are active as well. And we'll find one more round here. Very good. Coming back to center from here, nice neutral spine. We're going to come up off of the ground. So starting to get right into downward facing dog to make ourselves up to a standing position, we're going to curl the toes under here. And in order to lift up, I want you to think of pressing your weight into your upper body, into your palms here. Lifting up with the toes, sending the knees off the mat, and then shifting the weight from the palms back into the feet and the heels, even if the heels aren't on the ground. So this is a very strenuous posture. If from here you feel really tight behind the legs, bend through the knees a little bit and press those sits bones up toward the sky. Drop the head down. Press the ground away, press through the fingertips, the palm, even the thumb. And we're going to step to front of the mat from here. So if you have abundance in your body or you have very tight hip flexors, it can be difficult to step through. I'm going to give an option for people in bodies like mine, or if you just have any issues stepping through for any reason, bending the knees and stepping the feet wide. And then we're going to walk the hands forward or the hands back to the feet. And from here, we're going to take 1 or 2 steps all the way to the front of the mat and complete our fold from there. So folding down, again, bending into the knees if we're feeling really tight behind the legs, and allowing the torso to sit on top of the thighs here, especially if they're just running into that area. Just kind of let them hang out there. There's nothing wrong with that. Relax the neck, the head, maybe shake no, maybe shake yes. And on the next inhale, we're going to lengthen the legs, lengthen the spine, lift the chest up, halfway lift here. Spine is long, gaze comes down. We want to think of a single line from the bottom of the tailbone to the crown of the head, pulling that spine as long as we possibly can, pressing the sits bones back, hands are resting wherever they'd like. You can even find them on the blocks here. And on the exhale, we're going to find that fold again, so gently releasing back down to the ground. Maybe the knees bend again. Inhale here, we're going to come all the way up to standing. So I like to swoop my arms back and use that momentum to lift myself up, lengthening through the legs, reaching up to the sky. And exhale, hands come together, slide them through this heart center here, and release the palms. Let's take a moment here in this standing posture, finding your grounding, getting nice and firmly rooted down through the soles of the feet. Closing the eyes, noticing if the breath is moving any differently now after we have moved just a little bit, and just kind of assessing where you're feeling any sensation, any opening, any tightness. Coming back into that rhythmic breathing here, maybe bringing the hands to the body to feel how your body receives that breath, how it grows on the inhalation, how it shrinks down on the exhale. Let's find 2 more breaths here. Doing so good. Last breath here. Very good. Let's drop the hands here. And we're going to find a standing warrior sequence. So super basic foundational postures. I'm going to move my prop off to the side so that I don't trip. And please do the same if you have anything on the mat. And starting from center here, we're going to step back with the right foot for warrior 1. Super basic foundational posture here. So that right foot is going to step back and the foot is going to be planted down at a 45-degree angle, somewhere around there. We're going to bend into that front knee. And the most important part of this is we want the hips to be not here, but squared off to the front of the mat, all right? So adjust the back foot accordingly. Heel is planted down. Knee is bent here. And when we feel nice and sturdy and solid, you're going to lift the arms up for warrior 1. Wow, okay, so back leg is strong and straight. Front knee is bending. Almost think of sitting into that front thigh a little bit here. And maybe imagine that the thighs are magnetized together so that you feel nice and like pulled in, nice and strong here. 1 more breath here. Exhale, release the hands to the waist. And I'm going to pivot here to find this on the other side. So option to step forward and then to step back with the left foot if you like. Otherwise, let's pivot here and find our warrior 1 facing the other direction. So taking your time, getting nice and rooted, repositioning the feet so that you feel good, and reach up here. Tuck the chin slightly so the crown of the head comes straight up, and bring your gaze straight ahead. Relax the face muscles. Sit into that front thigh, really getting a nice stretch in the back calf by pressing that heel down. 1 more breath here. Exhale, release. Lengthen through that front leg. Let's pivot back to the front of the mat and take a step forward. Release the arms. Inhale, upward salute. Reach those hands up. Maybe the gaze comes up if you like that. Exhale, fold forward. Easy. Melt all the way down. Halfway lift here. Remember, lifting the chest up halfway. Pulling the shoulders away from the head. Gaze is down. Long spine. Exhale, fold down here. And we're going to come back for a typical vinyasa. I'm going to give some options here. So planting the hands down on the ground and bending the knees. You can step back to a high plank. If you're not there yet, if that seems like a lot on your body right now, grab some height through the blocks here. So grabbing onto the blocks, I'm going to step back 1 foot, come to the ball of the feet, and then step back the other foot. Really pressing into the blocks as if they were an extension of your arms or part of the ground. Holding that plank. And then we can lower down to the knees. And then we're going to keep the elbows hugged into the body and lower down halfway, chaturanga. So chest doesn't come all the way down, just halfway down. Inhale, lift up for cobra. Lengthen through the arms or keep a bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. So coming back onto those knees, curling the toes under, pressing into your blocks, lifting up, knees come up. Shake out the head, shake out the neck. Find 2 more breaths here. Pressing those heels back towards the mat. Maybe finding some movement in the hips here, lifting one heel up and then the other. And inhale, you can step wide and walk the hands to the feet or the feet to the hands. Or maybe we try to step through if we're using the blocks and we have enough room. So yogi's choice. Folding here. Halfway lift on the inhale. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, upward salute. Swing those arms back, bending through the knees, come up nice and gently, reach up for the sky. Yes. Exhale, hands to heart center. Give me a few moments of breath here. Checking in. How are we feeling? How are you doing? Getting right back into warrior. So get into that sensibility or that warrior, that fierce state of mind here. One more breath. Exhale, release. Drop the hands, and we will step back with the right foot for warrior 2. So very similar to warrior 1. Big step back, and this time, instead of having the toes pointed forward, so the hips can be squared to the front, hips are going to be squared off to me, to me here. So we want the knife edge of the back foot to be parallel with the short edge of the mat, and then bending into that front knee again, all right? So slightly different opening in the hips here. Arms are going to come out to a T from here, really reaching the palms in opposite directions here. And again, that gaze comes over the front middle finger, relaxing the face, finding your fierce warrior. Maybe sitting a little deeper into the knee, finding your happy place here, if it exists. Pressing that front knee out. Notice if it wants to cave in over the arch of the foot, and press it out towards the pinky toe. One more breath. Back leg is strong. Back knee is lifted. There's no bend in that back leg. Hands come to the waist here. Let's find this on the other side, or step forward and step back with the left foot. So taking our time, getting situated, and then finally bringing the arms open. And finding a trust with yourself. Trust that you're not going to fall, that you're not going to hurt yourself, that you're listening to your body, and you're able to determine what's within your reach today and what is too much, right? Through our breath and through patience and stillness and through listening to our body, we can kind of understand, what's there for us and what's too much, what's pain and what's effort, right? So taking one more breath here. And exhale, hands to the waist. Let's shift back to the center and step forward. Shake it out, shake it out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, let's find our last vinyasa here. So using the blocks or the hand down to the ground, planting the hands as wide as the shoulders, stepping back for our high plank, or we can come right down onto the knees from here. We're going to lower down for chaturanga. So lowering onto the knees, squeezing the elbows in, lifting down halfway, relaxing the feet. Inhale up for cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Curl the toes under, come onto the knees. Press your weight into the palms. Lift the knees up. Couple more breaths here. We've almost made it. We're almost there. You're doing so amazing. Very good. Let's come down onto our knees from here. Nice and gently. And then we're going to make our way onto our back. So taking a moment, laying back. Laying all the way down from here. Knees are bent here, soles of the feet come down. And we're just going to find some windshield wiper legs here. Stretching out the tops of the thighs, so dropping the knees over to one side, letting them hang. Keeping the shoulders like really, really rooted down into the mat here. Maybe your hands come to the body. Just until we feel a nice little stretch on the top of the top thigh. And we'll come back to center. And find the stretch on the other side. Let's bring the knees back to center. Take a big inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to draw the knees into the body and give ourselves a nice hug. So starting here. Knees into the chest. Hands can come underneath the knees or the thighs or on tops of the knees here. You can take the knees nice and wide if you need to. And really press that lower back down into the ground. And maybe rock from side to side, giving yourself a little massage on the sacrum. Maybe the back of the head too. Just let your body be loose here and find a little rhythm. Very good. Let's release from here. We find our final resting pose, Shavasana. So letting the legs be long, letting the arms take up space. If you would like to keep the knees bent, you certainly can. There's no wrong way to do this. Any way that you would like to use the props to give yourself comfort is a great place to be for Shavasana. I'm going to bring my blocks right underneath my upper thighs here. I'm going to switch it up. Oh, that feels really good on the lower back. Takes some of the pressure off. And we're just going to take a moment or two here, maybe another minute, to just kind of allow the breath to come and go as it wants to on its own. No need to breathe slow or deep. Allow that natural rhythm to return. And we're going to take a moment just to kind of observe how the mind is flowing today. How are the thoughts moving now that we've put in a little bit of practice a little bit of patience and presence and movement in our mind and our body. Notice what thoughts are productive and helpful and insightful, and what thoughts are just kind of stressful for no reason, that aren't really helping a situation or your state of mind. And you can choose which thoughts you want to engage, you want to expand upon, you want to build upon, and which ones you want to just let float on by. Allow your body to melt into the earth from here. Softening the shoulders, let them fall back. Relaxing the jaw. Thank you so much for joining me. We reached the end of our practice together. I hope you enjoyed this very basic and gentle, beginner-friendly class, and I hope that you join me for some more yoga practices sometime on Joyn. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.